far as position, I like the position somewhere below the collarbone and between the armpit so we can affect that upper pec. Here are our grips. We have a traditional close grip. Here's the key. Elbow wide, 90 degrees at the armpit, chest up, wide chest up. We want to be in that pre-stretch position when we are at the peak eccentric. You want to be in the pre-stretch at the peak eccentric so that when we go to the concentric, we're going to get more muscle fiber recruitment with every rep. So the move will look like this to here. Elbows out and boom. Next grip. Reverse neutral, or what we really call it is inverted. See the middle finger right there on the tip? Elbows out wide again, 90 degrees at the armpit. That's where you want to stay. Here, open up. And we're really focusing on the upper pec as it runs along the collarbone, from the mid collarbone to center, and flex. Key here, open up wide. If you shorten the eccentric movement, you're not going to maximize this exercise. If you start doing this, you're going to turn it into a glorified tricep exercise. Triceps are very intense on this to begin with, so maximize the work. Take it out wide, move from the pec first, squeeze together, and push from the elbows so that you're flexing hard. All right? You know what? This isn't a lot of weight. I'm not doing much, and my chest is already lit up because I'm squeezing right there. The next move, wide elbow. Right here, elbows up once again, 90 degrees. This is going to hit you a lot in the outer to mid pec, in the center, to the sternum, and squeeze. Boom. Open up, and once again, when you grab this, push like you're squeezing it together. Down easy, open up, squeeze together. Last move. This one's the most difficult because you're out so wide, but once again, 90 degrees at the elbow, 90 degrees at the armpit, chest up in the pre-stretch, push. Boom. All right? That's going to hit that shallow spot right in here, and then we're working all the way down into there. Boom. Elbows open, chest up, pre-stretch, flex. Remember, I'm flexing muscles, I'm not lifting weight. So what are the grips? Close grip, inverted grip, wide grip, wide neutral. Technique's the same. You're just changing grip. 90 degrees at the armpit, squeezing them together, 90 degrees at the elbow, depending upon where the move is. All right, let's go to pec deck. A very common term in the lifting magazines is called a multi-angular approach. Traditionally, a multi-angular approach is applied by using equipment that puts you in different positions. And really what we're doing with these grips is creating angles. So with that, with every move we go to, we reinforce the angles by simulating a position that focuses on the same group we did with the previous exercise. For example, deltoid fly, high neutral. The technique is similar to the rear deltoid move. You push out, come around like a bear hug. Now in this move, we're focusing on that dead spot again that we hit on the wide grip of the isolateral incline press. Once again, because we're up high, we're in a position of weakness, we don't have a lot of leverage, we have to magnify the move. What we're doing is we're magnifying the use of the upper pec muscle. Then from there, we're going to go prone to the outside, and what we're focusing on is that pec delt tie-in into the upper outer pec major, like so. So you run together, you push out and around, and if you notice, I keep my palms open. I'm keeping them open so that I don't push with my grip. All right, I have a slight bend at the elbow, because if the elbows are completely straight, your bicep is the secondary muscle and you'll feel too much stress on that. And you'll get a burning sensation in your bicep and they'll fatigue before your pec does. Chest high once again, slight arch in the back, open up, and also, here's a note. More in the eccentric position isn't necessarily better. You only need enough of a pre-stretch so that the muscles are expanded, and then you contract. But don't shorten the move. I see a lot of that. People shorten the move because they're too focused on how much weight they lift. As a bodybuilding community, too many of us associate our progress by how much weight we're lifting, and it's just not so. Your last grip, neutral. Here. All right? Now, on this series, we did progressives and we did alternating arms. Once again, alternating arms, you're going to push with this one, reach out, tensing, flexing that one, but we're still pushing so that this pec is activated. And then we'll switch, push with this one, reach out with that one. My left pec is still activated, creating tension, and my left one is being worked, and then we do it together. When we go to the prone grip, we're pushing to the outside, all right, like that. Both have tension on it. My right one is being worked, while my left one has tension from the eccentric position. Once I've done the number of reps with my right, I will switch to my left. And then once I've completed the number of reps, I'll do them together. These are continuous tension type motions because you're taking quite a few. It might take 3, 40, 50, minute and a half to do one series of sets, 10, 10, and 5 if you're doing it properly. You're not going to need a lot of weight. That's why we do the 10, 8, 6, because after you've thoroughly pre-exhausted the chest from all the different angles, now we can go to a heavier weight, really, really good clean form. If we need to use a little bit of our triceps and a little bit of our shoulders to create an overload, you can, but there are certain things you have to do before you get to that point. Simply, there is a skill to cheating. Okay, our final chest exercise, dips. A lot of different techniques, but we're going to focus on this one particular technique to maximize the work done on the pec, minimize what's done on the shoulder, and use the triceps as a secondary muscle. First thing, grip, neutral, elbows wide. We don't want them here. That becomes a tricep. Here, now, slight lean forward with the chest down, but keep the chest out. Why is the chest out? We want it in that pre-stretch position, all right? Now, we want to be in a position so that the weight is not touching. We squeeze together like we're flexing, and then we press down. Elbows flare out on the way up. Now, we do static holds for these. Static holds, we're going to hold it in an eccentric position to maximize the contraction. So out, hold 3 seconds, press. Out, hold 3 seconds, press. And if you notice on the press, there's a pause. Out, press. And then we go through the progressions. 6 and 10, 5 and 8, 4 and 6, 4 and 4. If you're somebody like Eddie who's been doing this for a while, with every progression you're going to have an increase in weight. If it's the first time you've ever done this, you're probably not going to have enough endurance to do a progression all the way through. I recommend for people who are starting this particular type exercise and they're doing nothing but static holds to go 6 and 10, 5 and 8, 4 and 6, and then you can go with 10, 8, 6. Usually, even with the introductory person on the 10, 8, 6, they're able to pyramid. Usually the limiting factor is your triceps aren't up to the task. In our next workout video, we will get into shoulders and arms, and we'll show you some things to do to get your arms up to the task so that they can handle more of the load that you're putting on your chest and your back.